Lithuania, Lithuania, Lithuania. I did it all wrong because the natural order of things would be to do Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Russia. But me being me, I did Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, and then Russia. I don't know, I just like to increase my carbon footprint, apparently. But Lithuania was a bit of a two-part trip. I spent just over 3 weeks there. I was there originally to volunteer at a hostel, as usual. Nothing new there, it was a good hostel with good reviews on Worldpackers. However, I only stayed in that hostel for one of the 3 weeks that I was supposed to stay there. And the reason was that the owner of the hostel, whereas the staff was nice, but then the owner of the hostel was one of those people who will talk down at people who are below him. And, at that point, I'd done quite a few volunteering exchanges. I was quite confident, I guess, to just go out and call him out on his bullshit. He basically talked at me in a way, he asked me to do a task on my day off, but he talked at me in a way that I thought was completely uncalled for. And that's exactly what I said to him. I was very polite about it, and I said, I think you should apologize to me because that was not the right way of talking to me. He apologized, but then he went on to typical gaslighting, like a man trying to make me think like I'm crazy or that I'm overreacting. Textbook gaslighting, if you ask me. He would tell me not to make a big deal out of it, that I was being too sensitive. And that to me was right, I don't really need this. I don't want to sound arrogant, but I think, as I said a couple of episodes ago, everybody knows what the limits are. A lot of people would have left some of the hostels that I worked at, and I stayed, but this specifically for me is a huge no-no. I won't let men talk to me like that. People in general, but especially men. It is a bit more annoying when it comes from a man and when it comes from the owner of the hostel. So it's not like it's a specific issue with a member of staff like it was in Croatia, where I could try and deal with that situation. It was the owner of the hostel, so I was basically sleeping under his roof. So I felt really uncomfortable, and at the end of this conversation I said to him, don't talk to me like that. You don't get to decide what offends me or not. I hope you guys are able to tell when people are doing that to you, because people do that all the time. And this sort of talk of you being too sensitive always comes from the person who is offending you, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? So I called him out on it. I packed my stuff, and then in respect for the staff, I did my last shift on the following day, or was it on the same day? I don't remember now. But I did my last shift and then I said, I'm leaving. Worldpackers has an insurance, if you don't know. You send them an email, explain the situation, and they will pay for the first 3 nights of your stay in a different hostel. They will also help you find another host. However, because I was only staying there for another 2 weeks, or even less than that, I don't remember now how long this whole problem took. It wasn't enough time for them to find me a new host, so I just decided to pay for the rest of my stay in Lithuania. And then after that, it was amazing. I loved Vilnius so much. I for some reason, I really identified with it. It's got it's not very big. At the same time, it doesn't have this village feel to it. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of interesting bars and little restaurants to go to. There's a lot of culture going on. They're huge basketball fans. And they're really funny, the way I really identified with the humour. They have a self-deprecating humour, and they laugh at themselves, and I really like that. They have the Republic of Ujupis, which is a self-proclaimed republic with funny, it's all a big joke really, but they have their own constitution and it's hilarious. So I like their sense of humour. I like how the city is bubbling and it's got things to do, but they're not pretentious. It's not very hipsterish. And I really, really enjoyed it. It's definitely a place I would go back to if I wanted to have a bit of a chill time. The new hostel that I stayed at was also amazing. So yeah, it was a bit of a 2-part trip, which I think it taught me a lot about my limits, and I'm one that I'm really careful before I decide to give up on a hostel, when I'm doing a volunteering exchange. I'm really careful not to give it up so quickly. So I try and be as considerate as possible, because those people are sort of relying on you. And also I always see some situations as an opportunity to learn and to grow, what happened in Croatia, what happened in Spain. It wasn't easy for me to just drop it, but I'm glad I did. And I think that that experience really taught me that, like, to know my limits and to know when it's time to say, look, there's no point of me staying here, this is not enjoyable. I was actually getting really sick because of the stress that it was causing me. I was sick for practically all of the time that I was in Vilnius, which was a shame because it did stop me from enjoying the city a little bit more. I've been waiting for days to shake off this fucking cold to come over here, do some sightseeing, and then it's all under construction. Anyway, it's nice. This is a nice view. I'll show you. Hang on. I had a tattoo done and I had this piercing done as well, but I had this piercing done when I had a cold, as I said. That's a huge mistake, don't do that, because I had a runny nose with a fresh new piercing and it got really messy, so don't do that. But I don't really regret doing my septum piercing. I feel like I've always had it, like it's part of me now, I really like it. I also got this tattoo done. Is the tattoo of a hot air balloon with, my favorite colors, and this is all based on a poem by a Brazilian poet called Mário Quintana, in which he talks about, I'm not going to remember the translation now because I think it's really useless to try and translate poems, it doesn't work. But it's basically talking about how you have a dream and you see that dream sort of going away from you, but being able to look at that dream is a beautiful thing that is vanishing. So that's how I thought of. I originally wanted to be a balloon, but then the tattoo artist said the hot air balloons are a symbol of Vilnius, so it would be a nice idea to have a hot air balloon instead. There's some other things inside the tattoo as well, like you've got the lemons, which is related to the abortion I had. You have some musical notes here as well, which are about, my big dream of working in the music industry in the UK, which is not necessarily over, but I felt, at that time at least, I felt like it was over at the time. But now, in hindsight, I know that everything can happen, mate. And that's something that living as a nomad for the past year taught me. I used to put a lot of eggs in one basket, do you know what I mean? I used to have this huge dream, and if I didn't live in the UK for the rest of my life, it was a failure. So I had this idea in my head, but now I'm a lot more open-minded. I'm a lot more I can see opportunities when they come to me, and being a bit more flexible, because it's self-sabotaging when you put so much hope into one single thing. What are the odds of that particular very specific thing you want to happen is going to happen? So can you see how different this mindset is from the mindset I had when I left the UK, when I went to Portugal? So this is what this journey's been for me. These learnings have come through working in these different hostels with different people and talking to people a lot, dealing with different cultures, dealing with situations like the one in Lithuania where I had to impose myself. And that's why traveling, especially if you're volunteering, is so amazing. It was also in Vilnius where I started this habit of so basically there's something called the co-working spaces where it's just basically people pay a membership fee or a day pass to go into an office that is shared with different freelancers, or even sometimes companies hire small spaces within co-working spaces. And if you work online and you don't want to be stuck in the hostel all day or stuck at home all day, these places are a good idea. But the membership fees are usually expensive, so I started signing up for free day passes in all the co-working spaces in Vilnius. I'm at the co-working space now that I mentioned. I have to be quiet because this is a civilized environment. There's a lot of them in there. I think Vilnius is a really a striving place for digital nomads, I think. So I started doing that, and I also found this really amazing coffee shop where I would go and work every day. It was really the second part of the trip, especially maybe the final week there, I really focused on making some money and working. and it didn't feel like I was not enjoying the trip because I was out. So that's the thing, that's the balance that digital nomads have to find, and people who work from home in general, I think. I hope you enjoyed it, and next time we're going to talk about Russia. Yes, Russia.